it's about this intergenerational conversation.
Mm.
It's about asking you what your stories are and really turning to our elders, turning to our ancestors, asking them what worked for you, what didn't work, what are your struggles. I think especially for Black women, you know, there aren't enough conversations about that. And I think sometimes we need to start there. And so I think that's super important. So just talking to your elders and your ancestors about what happened with their own bodies. And then I think the second step is the willingness, right? It's the desire. I actually want to know. I think we're in a really hard time right now where there's so much going on, and it can be easier to want to shut off that self reflexivity, that like looking in on ourselves. And so there's got to be that willingness, I think, is really important. And then it's identifying, that third step is identifying what are the resources that I want to bring in.
Greetings. My name is Queen Afua. I help people to live a healthy life in body, mind, and spirit. Welcome into the sacred circle, where you will find peace, inspiration, and practical tools for living a happy wellness lifestyle. So come inside and make yourself at home. Oh, there you are. I get a good look, honey. I've got to get a good look at you. Bless you. Thank you. Thank you so much for your devotion and your dedication to our womb wellness, our womb healing, our womb recovery, our womb transformation. Please share with us your background and how you got into this work that you are presenting to us today. Everyone get pen and pad out so you take notes. Go right ahead, my beloved.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Queen.
It's my honor.
Such an honor and such a joy to be in your presence. My work over the past decade has been as a doula and a health educator, supporting women through birth, postpartum, through loss, and through really getting a deeper understanding of how their bodies function. And so very much this idea that you really pull forward around womb wellness, that really is, I would say, like the core of what my work is, because I truly feel that when women understand how their bodies function, especially their sexual and reproductive health, it is the gateway to really optimizing their entire lives. And I think that so many women, at least what kind of brought me into the work, was that so many women are living in their bodies, but from a knowledge deficient place. There isn't an understanding how everything connects. And so, you know, with Loom, really our focus is being this well-being platform that's empowering women through sexual and reproductive health education, because it's that education that really, it informs everything else. I can't really say that enough. And I think sometimes we think it's the opposite. We kind of think, I'll just live my life and everything else will come. And it's kind of like there has to be that self-inquiry and that learning and that anchoring and that discipline that then creates that movement forward, or that ability to get deeper into oneself. And so right now, I just saw someone said, can we register? We're launching our platform in January of next year. And so you can go to our website now and just putting your email address to stay connected to what we're doing and kind of what's coming next. But right now it's really about incubating and building the platform, which I think is really beautiful, because it's fall, winter. It's a time to kind of pull in and then kind of come forward in the new year.
Wow, powerful. What led you to come into this line of work? What was your inspiration?
Well, my parents are both clinicians. My dad's a doctor, my mom's a nurse.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah. So it's in your DNA.
Yeah, so it's definitely it's in the DNA. I think also though, you know, we're Nigerian. My parents are first, you know, a first, sorry, my screen just did something funny, but my parents are from Nigeria. I'm Nigerian. And so when they came over, I think there was two things going on. There was this kind of connection to home, and I luckily got a chance to spend a lot of time there growing up. And my mom was very, very focused and still is on bringing in these blended practices. So a lot of the things that you talk about in your book are things that I've heard most of my life kind of growing up, because it is, you are so deeply connected to source and to that base. And so with Loom and just with this work, I'm always looking at, okay, what does the science say? What is the evidence say? But then also, what is that spiritual connection? What's my intuition saying? Mm-hmm. You know, what am I putting into my body that's only going to help me? Yeah. You know, it's like, it's really about, it's about bringing those three pieces together. So I think the inspiration definitely was my parents and my lineage and culture, but also, you know, I love research, I love data, I love facts, but I'm also super intuitive and spiritual and connected. And so it's this idea of, can I bring that to people? Yes. You know, can I bring both of those things at the same time? And I think that's really what the world needs right now. And I so resonated with what you said at the top of this live, where you're just like, women heal thyself, or women heal yourself, and then women heal the planet. And I do really understand that those things have to come together. You know, we can't just be trying to, because I do feel like Black women, we are holding up so many people, we are healing so many people, but what about ourselves? Yeah. How do you really do that work with integrity? How do you really hold up those other structures if you're not held within yourself? And so I just think that was really beautiful, and it really is landing with me this morning around that's where we need to be, you know?
Thank you. And Loom, give us some steps in coming into Loom. What does that look like? How can we begin to heal our lives, our womb life, our reproductive health, our sexual life through womb?
Well, you know, there's a couple of things that are coming up for me as you're asking me that today, just intuitively. And I think one of the things, and this is why I think it's so beautiful being in connection with you this morning, is that it's about this intergenerational conversation. It's about asking you what your stories are, and really turning to our elders, turning to our ancestors, asking them what worked for you, what didn't work, what are your struggles. I think especially for Black women, you know, there aren't enough conversations about that. And I think sometimes we need to start there. And so I think that's super important. So just talking to your elders and your ancestors about what happened with their own bodies. And then I think the second step is the willingness, right? It's the desire. I actually want to know. I think we're in a really hard time right now where there's so much going on, and it can be easier to want to shut off that self-reflexivity, that looking in on ourselves. And so there's got to be that willingness, I think, is really important. And then it's identifying, that third step is identifying what are the resources that I want to bring in, right. You know, and what are the resources I have the bandwidth right now to metabolize? Is it just changing my diet? Do I just start that? Or is it just starting with meditation? Or is it just starting with movement? Or is it just starting with getting good sleep, you know? So I think those are the three things for me, is really having those intergenerational conversations, and then really understanding and having that willingness to come forward and start to do some of the work, and then deciding where does the work really start. And then maybe the fourth thing too is, so I think you do this so beautifully, this idea that womb wellness is transcendent, and it locks and unlocks through all these different channels in your auric field, in your energetic field, right? And I think to kind of map on your teaching and to map on that structure, it's this idea that I truly believe that all sexual and reproductive experiences are interlinked. It's on a continuum. So when you are pregnant, you can still be thinking about menopause. Like, you shouldn't be separating those two things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you first get your period, you should be informed about what menopause
Mm-hmm.
might be like, or
Mm-hmm.
thinking about, you know, fertility, but from a place of like support, not from a place of constriction, like when you first get your period. And so I think there's so much division of all of these sexual and reproductive experiences that women go through. And I think it really creates this tightness, and it kind of cuts us off from being full. And so I think really looking to create ownership through all of these particular areas that are sexual reproductive health related is so important. And so I think that's really what I want to wake women up to. It's not just thinking only about one component. It's start to think about the whole thing.
From a holistic point of view, which I love that. To think about the full spectrum, and you have to have the education to even know there is a full spectrum and what to expect if you're healthy, and what to expect if you're unhealthy. If you do these certain things when you're young, then these wonderful things can happen as you mature. If you don't live a holistic life young, then you're going to have a very traumatic life as you mature. Just to think of that in that education, so I totally see that. The other thing that sparks me as you're speaking is the intergenerational communication about womb healing, womb health, and sexual life. My mother, and back in the day, did not have no kind of conversation with you. They didn't even know what you're talking about. And we just started talking to our daughters in this generation, if at all. And it needs to be said, because we're passing down through our DNA the pain of our grandmothers, and we don't know what they went through. We don't know how to get to it. But this generation, we are probing and we're seeking answers. And because holistic health has really come forward in a mighty way, we have more answers. So, wow, amazing. How did they keep up? Because I can feel books behind you. I can feel an avalanche of information. And when they get with you, they are going to fully be educated on their reproductive life, on their womb wellness life. So how does one keep up with you so they can continue to grow and to be with you in your teachings?
The best way to keep up with me would just be to follow me on Instagram. I'm just at Erica Chitty, and then to follow Loom at Loom HQ. And, you know, that's where all of this knowledge is going to be flowing. And thank you for those blessings and those words. I really appreciate it so much.
Thank you. We all thank you. You're getting a lot of hearts. They're seeing a whole lot of love. So you've opened them up. You've opened up their womb consciousness. And now they want to probe. They're going to speak to their mothers now and see how that works out. Their mothers are like, what are you asking me this for?
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, then go to your grandmother, go to your auntie.
Somebody, an auntie might tell you, okay. But we got to start somewhere and not be discouraged that we can be healed. Thank you, healer. We love you. We love your work.
Love you. Thank you, Queen.
Blessings. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
And we just brought our sister in on the wings, our doula. We brought her in. Well, give thanks and praise. We had to prepare for you, my beloved. We just couldn't just come to your kind of way. We had to get a breath work going on. Thank you, Sage. Thank you, Hawke, sister.
Oh, well,
I think about the Hawke. I think about the falcon.
Yes.
And having that clear vision.
Hawke medicine
and that
is real.
high vibrational flying.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And we just love you for doing your womb wellness. I've never done, this is my first time. I've been always teaching me, myself, and I womb wellness. But today I'll actually have, I will call you womb workers, womb wellness practitioners within doula, within the midwifery, within all of that work. We're coming from different angles to protect our womb life. So please tell us about your work and what led you in to doing your great work.
Okay, so, ridiculously so, I actually was, I hear some.
The whole Zoom classes will be on
Do you
Wait a
hear
minute.
that?
One second. Okay, now we hear you. Go ahead,
Okay.
beloved. Mm-hmm.
I started off in my career as a professional dancer and an actress.
Oh.
I was in a professional ballet company until I was 17. I studied in New York at Strasberg. I studied with Martha Graham and Alvin Ailey. I just wanted to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the birth of my son that changed everything for me. In my birth, my midwife had a woman with her who was her best friend. And she said, I can attend with you. I can be your, I can be as your support system. And I was like, okay, sure. Okay. And an hour and a half into it, I was like, what is this that you're doing? Because you're saving me. What is this?
Did you say you're saving me?
You're saving. She was saving me. Like literally.
I love it.
She changed my mindset about what was happening just with her presence and the work that she was doing. So I asked her, what is this called? Where did you study? All these details. And she said, love, why don't we talk about this after you had your baby? And I was like,
no. Workshop while I have the baby.
Really? And I said, no, I'm going to write it down. So I had my journal with me and I wrote down in between surges everything that she did. And then when my son weaned at 3 years old, I started getting certified in all the things that she did, because I realized that all of those things really supported me in that journey. And it wasn't until my daughter was getting ready to, start developing and being in it that I said, I really need to bring in the womb wisdom and the womb wellness aspect of this. And so I started doing red tints for young girls who are getting ready to go on their cycles, and red tints for women who were already bleeding but didn't have an understanding of the sacredness. And then I did red tints for Crohn's, or women who are embracing the dark, because some people don't like the word Crohn's, but women who are embracing the dark magic of not bleeding. They're holding their magic and holding their wisdom. So I started doing these red tint ceremonies for them. And from that, I actually realized the power and the information that can go to women who are having their babies. Because you can have a mindset of suffering through labor, or the mindset of, this is my power, this is my exercise, this is my rite of passage through labor. So that's kind of how I came into it. And I asked, Source, I was like, why would I be a dancer and an actress and take all these classes and do all this studying for 20 something years to be in birth work? But I actually use every single bit of it.
Come on.
There was no mistakes. It was a divine plan. I stepped into my purpose. I stepped into my purpose. Realizing.
Well, when you said that, I went right there. I said, that makes sense to me. You probably had to send some women through. You had to get them moving and grace and releasing and all of that. It all adds up.
Yes.
And that makes you rich. I can feel the richness in you. I can feel the seasoned womb healer, because of all of that work that expressed to you. Even the fact that you were able to say, hold up in the middle of your birth, and you're taking notes for your future. That takes a very serious soul to go right there in the midst of that. So I know that who you are, same experience that you had when you had someone to help you in birthing, that you have a great impact with women. And just as you said, you saving my life, I know that you have been saving some lives of women. Could you tell us some of those stories, share with us, so we can really get connected to how you work?
Well, I think that the gift that I provide, one of my superpowers, is that I make people feel safe. And I make them aware of their blessings and their grace. And especially for women, I think for example, in one of the births that I attended, and it was with a midwife that I'm normally assisting, but something told me to be the doula for this client. And so I did. And it was a very long labor. She had the urge to push entirely early.
How many hours was that labor?
I want to say 40 something hours.
Okay, yeah, she needed a doula. Why did she need a doula?
She did. And her
Yes.
husband needed that support too, because I was able
Yes.
to let him know that she was safe and okay. And yes, she was outside
That's why
of.
that's why I said she needed a doula.
Yeah.
Because that's the doula will help to shore everyone in that circle up. The husband's scared. Otherwise, she'd have been already in the hospital. That would have been it. That could have been the end of that case.
He was ready to
that's
go.
why I
You're
say,
right.
keep going, sis. I'm right there with you.
He was ready to go. And I said, this is actually within the realm of normal. And I said, you talk to the midwife. She was like, I'm going to talk to him. And I knew that was my cue to go and speak to the mama, because if he came out of that room where we had left them alone, because sometimes they need that alone time, I knew that something was going on. So I walked in there and I said, what's going on, Mom? And I just eased in to like a tub that you don't want to ripple. You just want to stay warm. I'm in gentle. And I said, what's happening, Mama? And she was just like, I just don't know. I'm so tired. I don't think I can do this. And I said, well, I actually know you can do this. And there's always something in the reserves. Women have a pocket. Women have their seat of their womb, where that womb wisdom lies. And I said, and I know you don't have womb amnesia. Honey, you remember all of it. You know what you got. Let's jump in. Your ancestors are here. We're all here. Let's breathe together. Let's go through this next one. And I just had to stay in there with her and take her through the journey of each climb and release of surges for about an hour and something. You know, sometimes they need that. But then she was fine, and she did the rest. And it still was a journey. She did the rest like brilliantly, like in her power, standing strong and tall.
In her power. Wow.
And she said, I remember. And that gave me everything. I almost started crying. I could cry right now. She said, I remember.
Because it's all there.
It's all there.
It's all there. Wow, that is amazing. Where were you when I was having children? Okay, sidebar. You weren't born. We have to wait for our healers. Wow, that is amazing. I love the way you work. I love this frequency that you're on. And I know that women are going to come and pour their hearts out to you.
Thank
you.
You
just won't have enough time in the day. So make sure you take extra care of yourself, because they're going to suck on your bone marrow. You got it.
Suck it all.
Sucking
all the bone marrow. Yes, ma'am.
Please tell us how to keep up with you, and so we can continue this conversation and this level of healing. Please share with us.
Thank you. The best way to keep up with me is at on Instagram at I am Haize Hawke Rosen. My website is being built. I haven't had one for all these years, but now I'm getting one. But the best way, and the way I'm communicating with you, is through Instagram at Haize Hawke Rosen. Thank you, Queen. I'm so honored to be here.
And you happen to have blue on your crown, and that represents our universal sky mother, Newt. Right on point. Thank you. I had fun. I had so much fun.
I did too. Thank you.
We got to continue this happening. Where are you located? What part of the world?
I'm in Los Angeles.
I'll see you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I'll be on the flight. All righty. Love you. Stay in the heights and continue to be encouraged to do your great womb wellness work. Thank you to all my subscribers. We are giving away a free 7-day detox kit when we reach our milestone goal of 50,000 subscribers to this channel. To enter for your chance to win, all you have to do is subscribe to our channel. Like and comment on this video, and we will choose the winner from the comments section. Thank you for growing with us. Ashe.